Ladies and gentlemen, how do?
Hello again, all you lovely people. As the government continues its discussions on reforming our vital utility sectors, attention has once again turned to Thames Water. The water giant has defended its executive pay structure, arguing that strong leadership is vital as they navigate a challenging transitional phase for the UK's water infrastructure. What is the news I am hearing? Have you heard this? Are they having a laugh? Are you shitting me? Is this real life? Are we living in a satirical simulation designed to test the absolute limits of human blood pressure? Because if so, the software is getting a bit heavy-handed. Chris Weston, let's talk about Chris, shall we? He's the chief executive of Thames Water. He's been in the job since January 2024, and he has just defended a massive pay rise, a 14% increase in his base salary, no less, bringing it to £995,000. Toss in a nice little 9 grand bonus, because of course he got a bonus, and his total package is £1.16 million. And how does he justify this? He describes it, and I quote, as absolutely deserved.
Fundamentally, I joined Thames because it matters to society, and I felt with my experience and track record I could make a difference. And I still believe that. And I agreed with the board that when I came in that I would participate in the bonus structure and all its performance criteria, which had been set before I joined. People that I talked to recognise the magnitude of the job that is in front of me and that we have undertaken. And I think that within the first 3 months, I did make a difference. I started to put in place the new organisation structure. I started to give people confidence and reassurance about how proud they could be of the job they did and what we were setting out to do. And that helped stabilise the company. And I think that was important.
Now, where I'm happy to defend Mr. Weston, he was an officer in the Royal Horse Artillery for 7 years. So we can't doubt his bravery. But he talks about his track record in business. Well, he worked with Centrica and was managing director of its British gas subsidiary. Well, remember how they got on with the firing or sacking of workers. So I don't know that you point that to a towering success, would you? Meanwhile, sky-high bonuses were also defended by the chair of Thames Water, Sir Adrian Montague.
This business, like many businesses, needs to reward its staff effectively. We are in a competitive marketplace for staff. We do need to reward them competitively. But the amounts of bonuses paid to staff is very small compared with the capital cost of the works that we were considering at that stage. The fact of the matter is, as we've noted on several occasions, Thames in the last year has come very close to running out of money entirely. There were times in the last year when we had 5 weeks liquidity.
Absolutely deserved. Laugh, I nearly bought a round. Oh, absolutely, yes. Give the man a medal. Give him a crown. He's done a spectacular job. I mean, let's look at the progress he's made to deserve this cool million. Last year, customer complaints at Thames Water rose by, how much? 5%. 10%. No, they rose by 77%. 122,798 complaints. That is not a spike in complaints. That is a goddamn avalanche of human misery. And what were they complaining about? Oh, I don't know. Maybe the fact that in April, average household bills for Thames Water customers went up by 31%. An average of 203 quid added to their bills, bringing the average annual cost to £639 during a cost of living crisis. People are literally choosing between heating their homes and eating a hot meal. Thames Water is dropping a £200 dry slap to their bank accounts. And why? To pay for the water. No, to pay for the privilege of complaining. Billing complaints nearly doubled to 96,000. People aren't just complaining because the water tastes funny. They're complaining because they are being legally robbed. By Chris Weston, instead of riding a horse and wearing a mask, Chris wears an Armani suit and a pair of Ray-Bans. And what do they get for their 60% rise in bills? Yes, you heard that right, 66%. Do they get pristine, sparkling alpine water flowing from their taps that some French geezer has farted in? Do they get clean rivers? No. All they get are rivers of literal human shit. Thames Water missed its regulatory targets on pollution yet again. They had 386 pollution incidents last year. That's more than one a day. They are quite literally using the River Thames as an open air toilet. And then they have the unmitigated goal to ask the people of London and the South East to pay more for the pleasure of having toilet paper float past them while they try to go paddleboarding. The Environment Secretary called it an unacceptable destruction of our waterways. The Consumer Council for Water rated Thames Water as poor for handling disputes. Poor? That's the polite, official way of saying completely, systematically useless. And yet, Chris Weston stands there, wiping the metaphorical drool from his chin, and says, yes, quite, I deserve £1 million. For what? What is the metric of success here? Chris, if I go to my boss and say, hey, I've managed to make 7% more people hate me, I've charged our clients a third more money for a worse service, we've been fined a record 100, and £4.5 million by the regulator. And oh, by the way, are £18.5 billion in debt. Can I have £100 grand bonus? Do you think that I would get a bonus? No, I'd more than likely get escorted out of the building by security and a mental health professional. 18.5 billion in debt. Let that number sink into your skulls. 18.5 billion spondulics. This isn't a company, it's a black hole with a plumbing license. They've had to hire a restructuring firm, Alex Partners, to try and stop the ship from sinking. And how much did they pay just one bloke? Julian Gething, the chief restructuring officer. £2.18 million. Where is this money coming from? It's not coming from the shareholders, because the shareholders have run for the hills. It's coming from the taps of hard-working, exhausted, dried-out bill payers. The Thames Water bill payers are funding their incompetence. Poor bastards are subsidizing their failure. And here is the absolute kicker, the cherry on this giant floating cake of sewage. Thames Water has officially warned that its current funding, its entire pile of cash, might only last until October. They are on life support, are begging the government and investors for emergency cash because they are about to go belly up. So, let me get this straight. You are a monopoly. People must use you. They have no choice. You can't go to a different water provider because you don't like the service. It's not like choosing between Tesco and Sainsbury's. If you live in London or the surrounding area, you drink Thames Water or you die of dehydration. You have a captured market of 15 million people. And you have managed to run it so far into the ground that you are £18 billion in debt, facing a £100 million fine, and you might run out of money in a few months. The guy at the top, he gets a £1.16 million pay package. How? How is that a market? How is that privatization working? We were told privatization would bring efficiency. It would bring investment. It would make things better. Instead, they've sold off the assets and the rest of the family silver, paid out billions in dividends to foreign hedge funds and sovereign wealth funds over the past 30 years, let the pipes rot, let the sewage flow, and now that the bill has come due, they've dumped the debt on us, raised our bills by 31%, and the CEO gets a bonus for making progress. If this is progress, I'd hate to see what a disaster looks like. What does Chris Weston have to do to not get a bonus? Does he have to personally come to my house, shit in my kettle, and hand me a bill for 60 quid? It is a scam. The whole system is a giant, bloated, privatised protection racket. And the government sits there, monitoring the situation. Discussions are ongoing. Here's a discussion for you. Nationalise it. Take it back. Strip them of their bonuses, claw back the dividends, and put the people who polluted our country in high-vis jackets and make them clean the rivers with a toothbrush. But no, here's what will actually happen. We'll pay our 639 quid. We'll drink our microplastics and our untreated sewage. And Chris Weston will buy himself another nice holiday home, safe in the knowledge that in England, failure isn't just tolerated, it is very highly compensated. Yet Thames Water has stated they remain committed to delivering a reliable service for all its customers, and Elvis works in my local chippy. And after all that, I need a drink, but not from the tap. Thames Water is a shining example of the failure of privatisation, where CEOs get bonuses for literally creating shit. Well, folks, if you enjoyed this video, then not only are you lovely people, but you also have great taste, and you should also subscribe to the Two Davies for news and politics from a very Scottish perspective, and that rantastic Mr. McGuinness. Cue growling cat.